Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast.
Kind of remote, kind of not.
We're in your fucking kitchen.
That's my dining room, bitch.
Which is attached to your living room.
And kitchen.
Hey, it's all attached. It is all attached.
And it's Wednesday.
That's a curveball. But I am going to be out of town this weekend, so we're doing it today. Tonight. Whatever fucking time it is. Tonight.
Had to wait on Steven's ass to get here fucking all night.
It did not take the guest long to bust his nuts.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was fucking coming.
Blame it on me.
Well, Derek told me 7:30. So, and
I
was
did.
Before that.
He was actually here before that.
Jim Jones make that good?
Little wiki. Last week we talked with Micah
Yep.
of J&M Derby Products about the excessive amount of aftermarket parts available for this badass
Yeah,
sport.
we've touched on that a lot.
We have Grant Bowling with us tonight. Grant, I think Mr. Drew kind of threw him under the bus a little bit on Drew's podcast episode about kind of how Grant got started too. But I think Grant is full-fledged into the aftermarket effects of all these parts.
Yeah, I kind of like that direction of it.
Well, you jumped in with both feet.
Yeah, I don't know. I started back helping Justin Morgan. Well, I think we were like 15. He'd buy these old Bubba Lincolns in town off Grandma down the street for $200 or so, and we'd drive them on the weekends. And I was kind of hooked after that. We'd tear them up. Once they tore up, then that's when he derbied them.
Then it was tear-up time.
Yeah. I don't know. I went on the road and came back, and it was a whole different animal whenever I got back. Cars weren't built the same, and I kind of like that direction, I guess, of it. But
Grant likes to weld.
I do like the old splatter gun.
A lot of our guests are like that.
Yes. There is, to them, it's no such thing as too much welding wire.
I don't know that we've had, but maybe 2 or 3 guests on here that were like, I hate building these cars.
Yeah.
I hate to make my car fucking hard.
Everybody likes wrecking them.
Right.
I mean, not a lot of people like or enjoy the labor intensiveness of building one of these things.
It is some work.
We're gonna jump off here. The first car that you built for yourself.
Yeah.
You spent roughly 8 months?
I'd say probably, yeah. Not working on it every night, but yeah.
No, but that was acquiring all your stuff.
Yeah. Buying it little by little. That way it ain't one big chunk. And
Wives don't like that.
no, they don't. Yeah. Yeah, they,
What'd she say? More derby shit?
yeah. She told me that hopefully 2023 we don't spend money like we're leader of a cartel. So,
No, I was gonna say that shit will get you smooth kicked off Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg.
but no, I don't know. My whole thoughts on it is you pay that much money for a car, why junk it in one night, do a little extra work to it, and take time on it, maybe get 2 or 3 runs out of it.
But in that same token, I'd come over bullshit with you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He would never really look like he was asshole deep in work. He would tinker.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing? Well, put the suspension on the front, put my narrow wheel on it. It was wobbly. So I took the wheel off, thought, well, maybe the bearing screwed up in the hub and everything. And so he took it all apart, put it right back together, put it on, still wobbly. He said, son of a bitch, got a bent wheel. He didn't run it. He caught that issue before he got to the point. What was that?
PBR.
Tall boy PBRs. gut rotten son of a bitch. I feel sorry for your wife in the morning.
I got to drive him home.
But you know, we've talked so much about rushing through stuff and 3-day build, month build, whatever. Everybody's trying to cut their time frame so short.
Well, it's been me. Like, I mean, we're describing how I put shit together.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, it's the week before the Derby. I'm going to get this car done.
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
I couldn't tell you how many times people gave me shit last summer about how long it'd take me to build a car. And, well, frankly, honestly, it was the first 9802 I ever built, and I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. To be honest with you, it was a learning curve deal, and I don't know if everybody knows me. I got ADHD and I'm OCD pretty bad, and that working in the shop kind of helps all that. So it's a tinkering deal, and I don't know. I sat in a track hoe about 10, 12 hours a day, and I built a lot of cars in my head. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That, and it's not downtime, it's just alone time.
yeah, it's just time to think. And hell, I know usually what I'm going to do that night at the shop by about lunchtime or so, and get in there and get after it usually. But I don't know. It takes a long time to build a good car. I mean, if you're by yourself, and I don't know, I guess you're like me. I guess it takes a long time.
Well, you just spoke running around with Justin. You was always riding, always building. You go on the road and you come back, and you want to talk about jumping off the fucking deep end with 2 feet.
I mean, it was.
This dude goes to the Hard Knocks boys.
Yeah.
Went to work. I worked. I worked for them, and shit. I mean, that's hand in hand right there. I mean, I hunted with them, and all them guys are great guys, best friends of mine. But yeah, we got to building derby cars, and oof, there ain't no corners cut there. So
There's
until you
not.
get to the Derby.
there's a lot of cutting. But I don't know.
I was pretty proud of him Mother's Day
Yeah.
because Colt didn't have a whole lot that he actually
The
had
car
to
had
cut.
already been through our
It'd been
rules.
through a
Yeah.
few techs already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But yeah.
Like our street stock rules, it had already been through those.
Well, I think they ran it in that pro stock, whatever they
Yeah,
had there.
at Palmyra, which was super close.
Yeah.
to our
Yeah.
rules.
But that's two complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Building Justin Morgan early '90s Lincolns to
When I first started running around with Colton them and Derbian and stuff, I mean they were running light welds down at Bowling Green, and I mean they're light weld stuff, Palmyra, and they only ran a couple shows a year. But I mean back in the day they ran a lot. I mean Chase Lackey and all them guys, Hanus.
yep.
I mean they were running mod stuff and just all over the map. But yeah, they like them splatter guns too.
It's not like they don't have a full array of choices of splatter guns.
Yeah.
Doyle Manufacturing. You can't walk 20 feet and there's not a welder.
Right.
Yeah, and their fabricators mindset. I mean, they set back, and that's where I kind of got the way I am. I mean, because
Well, I say meticulous.
yeah, I mean, I'll agree there. I mean, hell, I just told Jacob Green the other night. I said, get your car stripped or whatever, get your body off of it, and I mean, I always take the frame to the power washer just so you can get it clean and look at it.
Well, you don't.
I just told Jacob-
You don't like trying to weld over dirt and
gravel road dust,
rust
changing
and
your
shit. Fucking drives me insane.
I
That's
just
the
told-
first thing I do with a fucking car is wash the goddamn.
Yeah, I told Jacob, I said, just power wash it, get it cleaned up, and then just sit back and look at it. I said, you analyze it, you can learn a lot just by, the way the frame's built and why it's like that, and hell, anything. You can learn a lot of shit on Google.
Because how many times have we talked about it? You can take two cars, the exact same 98 to 02s, even on the build dates are close. They're not the same.
No.
Period.
They're all, I mean, every car is going to bend different. A lot of them are going to bend in the same areas, but it might just take.
Well, yeah, but we touched on that really hard last week because Micah getting back into it, he had talked to the Browns and all them, and they let him look at their cars and where they put their plates and all that shit. And he did that to his car, and it didn't work.
Mhm.
But the drive style is different.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the drive style compared to the build style, it almost has to go hand in hand. Because where you put your plates at might not be the same for me. Because I told them last week, I've got a terrible issue. I load the passenger rail
Mhm.
every time I run. Terrible. I've tried to fix it. If I do it, I end up loading the driver's side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'll overcompensate. But that's the shit that you can't look at somebody else's car and be like, all right, that's where you need to put your plate.
There's a lot of things that in that equation, not only the plates were placement, but also bumper height, what style of bumper he's got,
Yes.
bumper brackets. There's a lot of different scenarios.
That's why whenever people are like, well, I looked at so and so's car and they did it this way, mine bent like this, their shit had to be cheated. Not really.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be like that.
And I think that's in every sport. Whether he could race YZ250
circle
dirt
track.
track. You can do
Fuck
it.
circle track.
Yeah, I mean he gets on a dirt bike and he can be faster on one bike
Yes.
with nothing done to it with the second one.
Yes.
It,
You're going to run into that shit. That's why the whole plate placement, there's nobody that can sit down and write a book on how to build a car.
No.
Because what Derek does to his car is not going to work for me. Or vice versa or whatever. And that's why I think I like this sport so much. I think that's why it's so interesting to me because, especially after we were putting on those derbies, watching all these cars come through tech and shit, I got to see so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Eddie boys doing something way different than Rob and Trey or Austin, Schaefer, and Cody and Tyler and all. Everything was just so fucking different. And a lot of them running the same style of car.
Mm-hmm. Biggest thing, you gotta have the mindset to look outside the box, and that's what I like about it. You can't just because it's you always want to be better, and figure out something that no one else is doing.
Mhm.
To be the best, you have to beat the best.
Yeah.
That's how that shit works.
And I don't know, hell, that might have been why. I'm gonna blame that on 8 months of building a car. That's why. That's what I'm gonna say.
well, just like we talked on the phone the other day, you got several messages about your car.
Mm-hmm.
How it bent, where it bent. We all know. We said this from the beginning. We're never going to ask any secrets. But that just kind of goes to show you what he did to his car. It mind-boggled people. Mind-boggled other drivers. Good drivers at that.
Yeah.
Good builders. But he figured out something that works for your driving style, even when you've got your hand out the window, Lane Frosting that bitch.
Yeah.
So I think the meticulousness that you used did pay off. I'm not going to say you had any good luck.
I had some bad luck last summer. That's for sure.
He goes out to Salisbury first night,
Yeah.
and that's when shit was going to get rowdy.
I ran my car at Huntsville. I mean, that was a flop.
No,
I
he
mean,
took your car.
You was there. You was
it
on the
ran for
premises.
about, I think it was like 13 seconds or something, and I got stuck. But
Man, you and our last guest
It was,
had some shit in common.
I placed, but there was only 4 cars, I think. But
The bank doesn't ask that.
no,
Ever.
They don't ask how, they ask how many.
hell, I was mad about filling the whole fuel tank up, thinking there was going to be some cars there.
Wasted $30 worth of gas.
That was the first run on the new setup, and kind of worked the kinks out, I guess. And
In 13 seconds? Fuck.
well, it's a little bit better than driving up and down the gravel road. But I came to Salisbury, and yeah, I had some training issues there. That's torque converter problems, but
The fucking thing sounded good at Salisbury.
we got it all
I'll give
worked
you that.
out. That was a good time.
That shit was about to get plumb fucking wild.
Yeah.
Yes, it got pretty wild anyways. But, kept a tranny in it.
Yeah.
that could have changed the game.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm telling you, that was one of my favorite hits of the year. There was whenever Trey and Doyle hit.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You dropped some bones.
Well, we had talked to I've talked to both of them about it, and Doyle was like, "Yep, that was one of those shots that you want." Like that, he said, that's the fucking shit you dream of.
That's that NBA posterizing,
And
somebody
then-
getting dunked on.
and
And Colt
you
just
know-
had to be the unlucky son of a bitch standing there just looking at it.
And then Trey on the other side was like, "That is the shit that you can't." Natural light.
Financial life.
Financial light, bitch.
That's why you can afford to build.
You start building them Fords instead of them fucking Chryslers, you'll start bringing it.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, Trey was like, that was the fucking money shot, because that's the shit that makes your dick hard.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
nasty to watch. I mean,
It
from my point of view, I can see that shit coming.
Well, here I am,
Now, and I can
trying
be
not-
like, turn it. No, you're fucked.
well, fuck it, there was no way because
But Rob and
What-
Trey and Teddy and them guys, like the experience that they have and the knowledge on it, they know that's what it's gonna take. Like
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh,
kind of
100%.
shot. So
well,
I mean, they were all looking for it.
They were so happy to see the groups that showed up
Yeah.
at Salisbury because they didn't know what it was going to be, and they were like, "All right, fuck yeah, we're going to be able to get down on it."
Yeah.
This is going to make a show out of this. And honestly, whenever I seen both, I say groups, but like everybody talks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But whenever everybody showed up, I was like, "Fuck yes!" They just made.
As soon as the people show up, whether it's a Salisbury, Shelbina,
Well,
Peoria,
I know-
wherever,
Yes.
where this line in the sand is drawn.
And
You,
I know,
you know
I
that.
might catch some shit over this, but I knew that I had the quality there. I didn't even give a fuck about the quantity after that.
Correct.
Because if Salisbury would have said anything shitty about that show or had any, thing to say about it, I was going to be like, well, I have never seen the quality of drivers and builders that was at that motherfucker in Salisbury ever.
Ever.
I think that whole street stock class. I mean, everybody was there to put on a show, and
Oh, yeah.
it didn't last all that long.
No,
the,
but
the
it was
street
a
stock,
good
but it was
bitch.
wide open majority of the time. But
And we
nobody
keep-
wants to watch a drawed out
No.
Derby run for
No,
2-hour features and shit.
Well,
No,
and
I don't
on
wanna
the
drive
flip
in
side of
2-hour
that,
features.
I thought that stock class there was going to be good because of the years past.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually the stocks show up for Salisbury. They do. Well, it was the Eddie boys versus Eddie's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, with no Salisbury guys.
Yeah,
No.
there's
None,
not fucking
zero.
one.
Usually there's about 10 of them fuckers that are wanting to try
was
to
hot
park
as
in your
fuck
seat.
that day.
It was too.
And even that high.
Your
It was
poor
hot.
wife.
No shit.
She come over to
She
the
a tripper.
inspection tent. She's
Because I sent her there. She was sitting on his
the
trailer
fucking
sweating her
fans
taint
going.
off.
She was like, she was fucking miserable.
I said,
I told her, I said, you don't have to go if you don't want to. She's like, no, I'm going. I don't want to be this far. I don't want to be that far away from you.
yeah, we're talking like 8.5 months pregnant.
I was like,
so.
yeah. I was like, yeah.
My wife did the same thing. We went to Quincy, Illinois, and she was festively plump at that time.
Yes, she was. So we have talked off air with the rule changes that have been made around our local stuff.
Oh, dude, I've went into it. I've gave everybody a whole fuckload of shit. You might as well. Let's hear your opinion.
Are you kind of, because a lot of these rules are kind of in between.
Well, they've backed. There's no street stock class anymore. The
No.
only place that you're going to run an 8-plate car is J&B.
Yep.
And at that point, it's a 16-plate car.
Or 24 plate car.
Whatever.
My whole thing is I didn't want to see them change it so drastically where it fucks with people's setups. People spend a lot of money to build the setups up to where the sport was going, to the street stock limited well, whatever you want to call it, the brace rear ends and the protectors and all that stuff. And now they're sliding back. And I know it's probably just a revolving deal, but
Well, somewhat, but what I hate, usually whenever you see that drastic of a change that you have this year, and Derek and I have talked about it, I don't know if I've even said this on air yet, but the big deal, usually you don't see that shit until there's no car count.
Yeah.
You know, where the driver's sick of it. This is because the fucking guys that are putting the shows on, this is because that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the drivers already had the shit. They were building the cars. They were showing up. And
Yeah,
then they want to fucking pull 10 years out of the sport.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like, you know, first show, it tells how many cars are going to be there. Are they going to be built to the rules? Who knows?
Well,
Are
the
they gonna
first
get
show
in?
around here is brand new promoter
Yep.
in Sturgeon on the same weekend as Spring X.
Oh, Cabin Fever.
That's on the same weekend as Spring X.
That's going to be a flop. I mean,
Well, I mean, you know the locals that are
hell, I
leaving.
might show up. Be a
You're
Huntsville.
going with us, prick.
That'd be a Huntsville show. Easy money.
No, you're going to Urbana with us.
Maybe. I don't know. I just.
I don't know. Like you said, I'm anxious to see how all this plays out.
You know, and like I think they're kind of a Joe Martin, like back when they
Right.
did their rules. Like it's pretty dang close, but I think we all kind of know like how them rules kind of.
Well, and I'm not gonna lie. Like whenever we started out, like that's where I based my rules off of.
Yeah.
Was Joe Martin's, but we changed some shit.
Yeah.
You know, the full center thing. Fuck that. That was ridiculous. I mean, let them have it. Fuck it.
Well, if you're gonna let, I don't know. I've had plenty of arguments about it. I mean, I'm glad that they're letting 8 lugs in because I didn't want to have to put another rear end together. So I was happy for that, but I got to buy different wheels,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
My deal with the 8 lug thing is if you're gonna let a fucking 14 bolt in, let them brace the rear ends. Simple as that.
my argument was if you're letting aftermarket axles in, then 9-inch, and it's gonna be there's no stronger, you know. It's pretty equal.
We've talked
Oh,
and
fuck, dude. I don't even want to go back into this.
Talked.
I'm serious.
these guys have got to figure out something. And I'm not saying you've got to get all on the same page, but you got to be fucking close.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
some of
one
these dudes
person-
aren't even close.
Now, have you looked at Lucky Seven's rules?
Mm-mm. They're getting close.
They got it going on. I know that we've kind of left them out a little bit because I hadn't got to read through their rules. You need to do that. Anybody that's running locally that's not scared to drive an hour south, hour and a half south, better start reading the rules because that's going to be the place to be this year.
Because most all of their stuff, it really is around Eldon. I mean, Eldon, Jeff City, Russellville.
And I'm telling you, you can't find better dudes to work with.
Nope.
Well, that'll give everybody around here someone else to run against.
Fucking A right it will.
I
And competition
Yeah.
because
heard a lot of that last year. Like everybody.
there's some shit out of the South.
Oh yeah.
Don't fuck around down there.
Yep. Because
Well, I've been getting some Snapchats from T Stark. You ought to see what the fuck's about to come out of his shop.
well, he's supposed to come up and do an episode with us before where that build is going to.
It's fucking nasty.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty close to the type that he wants to build.
Oh yeah.
You know, for where that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is going.
I can tell you right now, it's not a metric GM.
I didn't figure. But, you know, we have talked that due to the rules, I've gotten phone calls, I've gotten messages, texts, Snapchats, whatever. A lot of
You know,
these
somebody
guys,
for a cup or something?
a cup,
Sorry.
no, not 2 chicks.
Damn,
in a
Sorry.
cup.
He
No,
beat me to it.
I'm glad I wasn't in mid-dip.
Steven also has
Y'all
a cup
just-
on,
y'all really fucked me
on
up right
Facebook
there.
Marketplace for sale for $39.99.
Plus shipping and handling. You gotta watch that
Oh,
shit.
God.
Get fucked.
So many of these rule changes. Jesus Christ. This was going pretty good.
It was too serious.
Yes, so many of these drastic rule changes, I'm getting calls and shit. They're not going to run the local stuff. They're going to the big shows.
Yeah.
And we've hit it on before.
But
These
hold
big
on.
shows aren't They've always been there.
They have, but this drastic rule change has pushed those guys that had the aftermarket parts, the aftermarket bumpers, the replicas,
It's gave them guys a reason to go somewhere
fuck
else.
yes, it has. Well, do I sell this shit and then wait on the 3-year turnaround where I can run it again? Or do I go hit up some of these bigger shows that I've been wanting to do anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going and watching the fucking things anyway. Like, Grant, how many times you been to Blizzard Bash?
I only went once this last year.
Right.
Yeah, but he went and watched.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
experienced
And
it.
then, but you've got, there's other. They've been there. They're going and watching them. All that shit. If you want to go, if you're gonna go watch it, it's just easy to take a fucking car.
Yeah. I don't know. My checkbook ain't that fat. I don't think I could.
If you can spend 8 months building a car to run it 3 times in
I
Missouri,
spent a lot of money at Blizzard Bash in the fucking vendor hall. I can't imagine actually running there.
honestly, it cost me less money while I was out there when I took a car than it did.
Because you don't have the time.
No,
That's
well,
why.
not just that. I mean, you're not in there steady looking for parts because you're outside
Mhm.
with your car. You're with your friends. You're like, all right, fuck, is everything good on this? Is everything good? You don't have the time to go scroll through Blizzard Bash parts for sale, being like, hey, are you in the parking lot right now? Because I'll come give you an over the pants handy and $40 for those wheels.
I mean, that's the big difference is when you are
$40 is pretty significant after I get to thinking about it.
evidently.
I mean, an over the pants handy and $40 for a set of wheels.
Fucking
Just
enough to make a Facebook post about it.
So
Or cup.
if you, God damn it,
What's the matter, Derek?
if you
He's gonna pile your ass up at Paris in that fucking Cordoba.
Trey's gonna like that. Trey's really gonna like that.
if
That's why I canceled the show.
Jesus Christ, if you
Sally
can
showed up to the last two
sorry.
anyway.
All right.
or last four,
I'm not drunk. You are.
if you
Getting there.
keep your finger on the pulse, how many times have you said that? Keep your finger on the pulse. I'm gonna throw them out there. We kind of hit on them the other day. Brandon Dixon.
Yep.
Wicked Team Show, Sturgis, Kentucky. He does a handful. He doesn't do a bunch of the fairs. But every one of his shows, same fucking rules.
And sold out.
Yep.
Sells out fast, sells out the stand, sells out the pit passes, sells out everything.
I'm just telling you, everybody right now is so hard pressed to run Sam shit with his rules. And I'm telling you this right now. If I was still promoting, my street stock class would be his rules, and I would pull them shits right to Missouri. And the first motherfucking show I had would be a big money payout street stock class. Because you're telling me out of 120 cars, is that right? At Whiskey City, there ain't gonna be nothing left over.
Well, fuck, don't talk about it, be about it.
I'm done.
I think I got 3 of those messages this week too. I was like,
They're gonna have somewhere to run.
Oh yeah, yeah they are.
but there's the difference. Those guys can they take Pecatonica? They got to be fresh.
I'm not gonna speak out of turn on this one. I haven't looked.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Since they're running heats, I doubt it.
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not running there, so I haven't.
We're
really
gonna have
paid
to have a
attention.
misinformation episode where everything that we've fucked up, we come back and shed some light on it.
Oh, where do you start getting to
Just leave it to fucking Derek, the co-founder of this fucking podcast, to put somebody on the spot about something they don't fucking know about. All the time. He's like, what are the dimensions on that Chrysler Pony nobody likes?
Everybody's
I don't know.
everybody's looking at that, Ultimate Derby shows and stuff. But, I mean, the River City Rampage, Toast, I guess, puts on that.
Toast in Henry, Illinois.
Their bone stock, like Larson ran it last year. He said he said that's the funnest show. I mean, it's bone stock. I mean, and you do everything in the pits, and it's a mad dog show pretty much. Like you go out there and run hard, get pulled out, you go to the feature, and you don't start at the beginning. I guess the way I took it, you kind of just get brought in, Kind of like the Royal Rumble kind of thing in a feature, but you get brought in like later on.
Those don't work in Missouri.
I know.
Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
But,
we shelved that
That's
idea.
kind of interesting. I mean, if you like to mad dog shit, I guess.
And that's the deal. We're talking about a couple of guys that went over there. Mason Larson. I've never seen him in a stock car.
No.
Ever.
He builds really soft shit.
Yeah,
We
his
all
shit
know
is
this.
weak as fuck.
Yeah.
Gage Sumner.
Pillars look good though.
Fillers do look good. You know, and Gage went over 2 years ago with the bull haulers and got pulled out in the heat of normal. I think he got down on
Which
some
those
money.
fucking cannons look tough. I mean, come on.
I bet you he'll be back with the same cannons.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
With a new polish job.
And he, I think he takes those off and puts them straight on his buggy.
You just wish you were as strong as them header bolts.
No shit. I've seen relationships.
They're-
weaker
they're
than-
all-
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You need another wiki drink?
I'm getting there. Bet you I'll sleep good.
Want me to mix it?
Nope. This asshole next to me mixed one time, and it was like really, really dark. It's like, here you go, Dad. And I took a drink, and I felt my milk curdle. Oh, what's it? Some more financial lights?
Yeah.
That's how you can buy all that street stock shit.
And the lower cart's getting full.
Oh man, but it really is like that. The big shows have set the curve for the hometown stuff, and with these promoters not looking at that, I think it's going to be an issue this year.
Yeah. I think that they're trying to give the guy that wants to run the chain and bang somewhere to run, like more places to run.
That's
The
why we
cheaper
have the gun
builds.
go class.
Cheaper builds. I mean, in all honesty, all of us are fucking stupid at running more expensive build cars. Why not run a gut and go? Pay
Right.
a couple $100, make the same money.
Because we started
It'd have to
having
be a lot
these fucking
cheaper.
frame scopes last year. On gun goes.
We did. We did have to scope some frames last year on gun goes.
I mean,
But I think you're
financially
gonna.
wise, the gut and go is a lot smarter option.
It is.
Looking
And
back now.
but if you think about it, I think that there was a lot of guys that had that mentality because all of our shows, like, they were making up at least a third of our show. Out of 4 classes, 1 class was making up a third of the car count.
My
Shit, I
deal
don't know
is,
where I'm going to run full size, and I might just run
Well,
gut and goes this year.
my deal is with the
Vans.
Only
like you
vans.
just said,
Only
the
vans.
chain and bang stuff.
Yeah.
Don't change the other classes. Just add the fucking class.
Well, that's what we did. If somebody wanted something bad enough, like there was enough guys that wanted something, I was like, fuck it, I'll throw some money at it.
Well, there's a lot of them old rusty cars, rusty new styles that need a place to go. Says a scrapyard,
Until somebody dies.
Well, I mean,
Because
you go
That's
to
part of
Madison,
the
get
adventure.
get a slider up through the floorboard.
Well, yeah, that's because you don't stop the show to pull shit off the track. Don't get me started on that. But
There ain't hell with dirt.
I'm just saying, whenever, I know where you're coming from on that rusty cars need somewhere to go before they die. You'll have that one motherfucker that doesn't mind spending $2,500 on a roundback to go out there, and then they drive completely through this new style. And that guy, the box is so rusty on the fucking car that it pushes the frame rail through his asshole. And now you have a lawsuit.
That was a bad idea. Never
That's
mind.
that's why they signed the
Scratch-
waivers.
Scratch that.
I'm
idea.
just saying, there's so many people out there that have the money to do it that run the sport. I guarantee you, just mark my fucking words on this. I will put a fucking paycheck on it. That there are cars at Whiskey City in the class I'm running, the stock class, that they gave more for the fucking car to run in that class than that class is paying out.
I wouldn't think about arguing that. Wouldn't
yeah.
come close to arguing that.
That's why the chain and bang class does not get my vote. Because you will see that guy. He's like, okay, so all these kids went and got metric GMs. Fuck it, I got this roundy setting out back.
Yeah, it doesn't
I'll go
work.
fuck them up.
Numbers wise, it doesn't work. I mean,
Or I've
You
got this
can't go-
74 5 Cadillac sitting outside. Yeah, fuck it, I'll take it.
You can't buy Impalas like you used to.
No.
Hell, you can't buy new styles like you
No.
used to. You can't go down
No,
to
I mean,
Grandma's
look on
and
Facebook, a
Grandma
clean
down the street.
9802 with no wheels, no cats, maybe a core in it for motor and training, $700.
Mm-hmm. And you're damn lucky if you can find one for $5.
I found 2.
But I'm just
saying you're run of the mill, the person they're trying to appeal to, the 16, 17, 18-year-old kid that doesn't have any money. They'll go get that 86 Caprice, throw a set of headers on the motor that's in it, whether that be a 307, whatever.
That's what the hobo class is for.
It is, until you've got the guy that, oh, fuck, I got this really fucking clean, whatever, the fucking Impala sitting out there. I'll kick the fucking windows out of it. We'll go run that. If it bends weird or something, we'll plate the bitch and jump up a class, but I'm going to take money all night. And they're out there, they go nose to nose with this fucking metric GM.
Ass
this
whoopers
poor
are
kid's-
sometimes the best learning lesson.
You see, you don't lose, you learn.
Yeah.
Well, let them do that in a stock class. They can take the same fucking car and take the same ass whooping in the stock class.
It's just an ass whooping. That's all it
Quit
is.
taking away from the guy that wants to build his car.
Yeah, I mean, I have zero.
Because what are we seeing in the gut? Oh, give us a carburetor. Let us carburet it.
Give us a bumper bracket.
Yeah.
A lot of
Well,
people
it
told
don't
me-
cost anybody anything to do that.
A lot of people told me last year that all them street stock, that's a lot of work. I just build them stock cars. Well, really, looking
They
at the
read my
rules,
rules.
looking at the rules, I mean, bumper bracket and brace your in. Really, is about the only difference.
I'll still argue with anybody. Our stock rules on the ass end of a car was damn near heavier than Blizzard Bash's light weld rules.
Yeah. But evidently that rule set wasn't very good and nobody wanted to keep it. So everybody
Right.
jumped 180 degrees away from it. So you just kind of said before we started, you don't know where you're going to run. You have no clue of where you're going to run.
As long as it's taking Josh Gordon to strip my car, I'd say he's probably building it right now for somewhere.
Probably Salisbury.
If I had cabin fever, he's gonna go cash and check.
Oh, he's going to go get him a check.
It's hard to say.
Oh.
No, I really don't know where I'm gonna go. I've thought about it, and then
So you're not going to jump on the Big Show bandwagon?
no, I don't have the time to do all that.
You keep Gordon, let Gordon just keep it a little bit longer and finish that bitch, and
Yeah.
you'd be good to
Fuck
go.
Keep stopping by Fusselman's and getting metal and taking over Jim and what.
It's one of them open checks.
Yeah.
But I was hoping you were going to say, you were going to kind of lay it. That's another financial light. Because I know some boys that are going over to Spring X, and I was hoping maybe you were going to try to throw something together, get in over
I
there.
think I've got an extra spot.
You always got an extra spot, Steven.
What can I say? I buy multiples.
I couldn't get one spot, and this fucker could have had like 8.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I ain't even really thought about running them bigger shows or out of state. Hell, I'd like to win one around here first. At least place tops 2.
Just like he says. He could take an ass whooping at a big
Yeah,
show
yeah.
just as he can
Yeah.
at a local
And
show.
I mean, I've talked to guys, and them bigger shows teach you a lot, driving wise, and
Well, I learned more out at Blizzard Bash running out there than I ever did running these local shows.
I think last year I learned the biggest thing on your car. You can have the best car around or the shittiest car, it don't matter. As long as you're confident in it, your drivetrain, your car. I mean, it says a lot right there. I mean, I think it changes your whole mindset on the whole night, how the outcome's going to be or how you're going to drive it.
100%, because I can honestly say I've never went to a derby besides Warrington, when I was running fucking Powell's 327.
A hot
I've been-
rod.
You know, yeah, it had been
Yeah.
sitting under a shade tree for 42 years. And I was like, it's locked up, pal. He's like, oh, just work it back and forth a little bit. It'll be all right.
Had to dig spiders out of the carburetor.
But other than that, I have never worried about my drivetrain going somewhere. And
You motherfucker, you ought to used to run Mopar transmissions.
yeah, but they
Guess
were
what?
wor-
Stuck.
they were working good at home.
They always do, though. I
If
mean,
anything's ever gonna fuck up, it ain't gonna fuck up till it's on the track or in the pits.
100%. And I will. I mean, I'll agree with that. But
Or
I
the
have
night
never
or the
like,
night before.
whenever I went out to Blizzard Bash, I was 100% confident that my car would start every time it needed to. I knew that I would not have that issue. There was 3 guys that burn up 355, or they had 355, and they burn up starters in the pits trying to get them started because it was so cold out. I went out there, pumped that Mopar about 4 times, and I knew it would fire up. Like that was not. We never fucked with my drivetrain the whole time we were out there. Was the car cobbled together piece of shit? 100%. Way more worried about my door coming open than I was my fucking motor getting started.
it constantly comes down to we were in Sturgis, Kentucky. Most everybody listening knows EPR. Their shit's right. We go through tech. Mr. Adam Lemonedger gets a stick, puts it in the barn. Bringing it back to the pits, he goosed it. That's all. And I didn't even goose it hard. He just whop, twisted a Narrett slider in 2 pieces. It did it there. You know, I mean, the first time he stood on it on the go button, it would have done the same shit. You know, was that something that was a Brian Narrett's builds don't usually break, not for just breaking.
Rob Hewer said it. He's like, you always gotta have good luck.
You'd rather be lucky than
some
good
people's
anything.
got bad luck,
Yeah,
and that's sometimes that's how it goes.
you know, the stupid shit happens. Sometimes it happens more on other people than the others. You know, but what are you building?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hey, Si, what are you building over there? I don't know. I don't know.
93 Lincoln Town Car?
No. No, I ain't got no in. I pulled everything out of it, but damn, that cage is awful good, and I don't really want to cut it out.
Correct.
But I don't know. Might build that square body Lincoln I got. I don't know. I kind of see how the first show goes. I'll probably start on something, but I don't know where I'm going to go or run, what class.
Now there is a stock.
It'll be local, I'm sure.
There's a
somewhere.
stock team show coming up at the beginning of April in Griggsville,
Yeah, in
Illinois.
Griggsville. Yeah, that's kind of been on the radar. a
Has
little
it?
bit, Yeah.
Because I don't know how many people know, but Mr. Austin Johnson did, announce that. I think he's 20 teams is what he's wanting to.
Yeah.
Gonna cap it at 30.
Yeah, cap it at 30.
Same thing we did for Mother's Day.
Yeah. He did take I think he reached out, is trying to figure out if they want to do 1 day or 2 day,
Yeah, I
kind of
think
what
you
everybody
kinda asked the
wants.
drivers
But where he's at, like, they can accommodate that.
somewhat.
I've
yeah.
never been to Griggsville, so I couldn't tell you.
I mean, there's
There-
you're
there's
gonna be driving a
places.
little distance,
Yeah.
but there's places around. But
That facility up there is badass.
I know a couple years ago you guys went over and
Yeah,
you said it was fucking awesome.
It was. I had a blast.
and Griggsville's always got a good derby.
Yeah, I got super hammered, tried to buy some shit in the live auction. It was fun.
Super hammered.
That don't
Right,
happen
man.
just every now and then.
Is that just in Illinois?
That's possible.
I mean, because we're going to Peoria in a month and a half, and
Oh, stop saying that. We don't have a drivetrain in there yet.
there's a rear end in there. But
Ugh.
it is. It's got to just be an Illinois thing, because now you run on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
You run on Saturday, so he's already worried about getting too hammered on Friday at Big Al Steakhouse, and then feeling like dog shit. But he did promise me
I'm
that
trying
he
to figure out where I'm going to get the wad of cash to take out there with me.
it's pretty close to that tax return time.
That's another one of them.
Wheeler sales coming up. You better start digging through the pile and take stuff out there.
I mean, it'd be $39.95 plus shipping ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. That Austin shows I don't know. They're more of my, I guess, build choice. I guess so. I don't know. I mean, I started. My first car I ever ran was Colt Doyle's wagon. It was a limited weld car.
Colt Doyle's tank wagon.
Yeah, it wasn't no slouch, but I ran it at Palmyra or Bowling Green and Palmyra. So and then I went to a street stock car. So honestly, I don't. A stock car is a whole different.
You've
breed
never
to
drove
drive.
a stock
I've never drove something like that.
You've rode in plenty
Oh,
of
yeah.
stock
Oh,
cars,
yeah.
and we have said a lot that you rode with the backwardest drivingest
Oh yeah.
Lincoln that we've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. We were doing that in a junkyard when we were 15, 14, whatever. Yeah, he's a good teacher. I'll just say that, good mentor. But yeah, I mean, the driving and of the stock builds, and it's a totally different. You got to drive them different. You got to be a little bit more cautious because the car's not so forgiving. But shit, I don't know. I guess we'll find out if I can drive one or not. Maybe.
Well, he kind of said it, but didn't say it.
That's what you were looking for. You've been fishing this
It
whole
is.
motherfucker.
I was, and he finally fucking said it. Finally.
Where are you gonna take that Chrysler at?
What's
Peoria?
the city?
After.
I hope it doesn't come back from there.
He's hoping it's got to get forked onto the trailer and go straight to the fucking scrap pile when it gets back. That's what he's hoping.
Not really. Not really. I hope there's a big trophy sitting on top of it, a big check, and then I bring it back and run it around here somewhere. But
To be honest with you, I mean, talking to a lot of people around here locally, honestly, it don't really sound that good. Like, I hate to say that, but a lot of people don't know.
there's some big news coming for our area.
Yeah.
I know that there's going to be a few shows that.
Well, this fucker sitting right next to me, he already knew.
So I think that's going to change some minds.
Yeah, it ought to. It'll be a good deal.
I just hope, like I said, I just hope he hurries up and gets it out
That's
there.
I got a text message yesterday.
Okay.
We're getting close.
Okay. Good deal. So,
Because I asked him when he was going to come get all this shit.
Filthy's going to put on a show, Ultimate Derby Rules. When was the date? What's the news you're going to come out with?
February 31st, 2026. We're going to go back to you coming off the road, going to work with Doyle Manufacturers,
Mm-hmm.
Colt and Case and them guys. What have they pretty much took you under their wing too? From going from your stock side to your heavier built light wheel to street stock, square stock, brown stock, rectangle stock,
Yeah,
triple
it don't
stock.
matter. Stainless, it don't
Yeah,
matter.
they love that stock. Colt, I understand, is a pretty good teacher as well.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
So were you able to take some stuff from, building back in the day when you were just a teenager with Justin to, what Colt and how he was working it to where you can kind of implement stuff for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the foundation of it was, how it was back in the day. But like, hell, I hadn't even been to a derby around here before I started for Doyle's. When I came home, because I'd be gone for a year. I might be home 5 days, or whatever. And hell, I never came to derby when I was home. So I mean, growing up, knowing what the cars were like, and then coming back working for Colt and them and his family, going straight to limited welds. I mean, even looking in the, we call it the graveyard, all the old cars. I mean, there ain't a single stock car back there. I mean, it's honestly nuts. I mean, it's crazy to even think about. But there was a lot to learn in that shop, and Colt's a good teacher, and yeah, he did take me under his wing. I'll say that. And I mean, not only Denton, he was part of. He ran down at Bowling Green, so him and Gene. I mean, I learned a lot from them, and I just take it all in pretty much and go from there. And then hell, I still bounce ideas off Colt. Colt's just like me. I mean, throwing ideas back and forth, getting each other's opinions. I mean,
well, Colt's one of them all-in
mindsets.
guys.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I mean, after Salisbury, we were talking about it earlier. That hit with Trey. I mean, I might get a little scrutiny with this, but kind of lit a fire in his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing, not in a bad way. It was just
Well, he
kind of
took a very,
hurt
very
his pride in a way, but like he didn't go out and get his ass whooped. It was he got. I mean, that was a money shot
I guess it was.
for Trey,
He
not for
took,
Colt. But I got a Snapchat. I think it was like 2:00 that night or that morning. That next morning, the cradle, the stub, the motor was completely out from under that car, sitting on the floor. He went home after that derby in Salisbury and cut that son of a bitch apart to rebuild it because he was fired up.
He was on a mission.
He was fired up.
I mean,
And nothing against Trey.
That was a
It was
learning
just
experience. I mean, it was because everybody was, these 03s are,
Yeah.
fucking tanks, and he takes one goofy shot.
Yep.
Not goofy, it was a good shot. He took one.
It was a fucked
good
up
shot.
angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it fucking junked everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so whenever something like that happens to you, you go back to the drawing board.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
I'm gonna fix this shit.
Yeah.
And I mean that next day he was like, I know what happened. I know how it happened.
Right.
How can I keep it from happening?
Uh-huh.
Because you can't avoid every shot like that.
That's
you
why
know,
I
and-
love this sport. I keep saying it. Because everybody's always coming up with the next best thing.
And you just, I mean, it's a mind game. I mean, like I said earlier, the Traco thing, sitting in the Traco thinking, I mean, you start building a car and you want to do good in it, and you want to have a great build. That's all you think about that. I mean, at least I do anyway. I mean, it's constantly on your brain, like,
Not me. I'm like, fuck it. How can I lose next time? Oh, fuck you, Si.
you're having a
I
hard
ain't
enough
best
time
person no
getting your
more rear
back
ends. I'm
wheels
just
on
telling you that right now.
I don't know. And especially like Mason Larson gave me a little advice, I mean, throughout the whole build. But Mason, I met Mason kind of through Colt. I don't know, bouncing ideas off of him, and we became really good friends. And he told me, he said, figure out a car you're going to build. I chose 9802. He said, build that car, that year of car, until you got them figured out, and then move to the next one. He said, you don't want to bounce back and forth. He said, just stick to that, stay to that, until you got them figured out, and then once you feel like you've got them figured out, move to the next car. So,
Perfect. Dalen Brown.
Yeah.
9802 building a fucking machine.
Oh, yeah.
Riggs.
Riggs, 9802 was
Yeah.
a bad bitch, dude.
Like, that was, like, Riggs run everything. But he always gravitated back to
I think
that
everybody has their
9802.
own preference.
Yep.
And like
It's
Dalen,
a confidence thing, like I was talking about. It's the confidence in the build.
like Dalen's
Mine
9802,
is
he
not
says,
confidence, it's pride. That's why I keep running these fucking Mopars. I'm going to put one of them where they get a fucking trophy. It's going to happen.
Instead of on the concrete block.
there's no concrete in Peoria.
Fuck you.
Sorry, I'm busting your balls tonight. But
Just like Dalen said, pre 98, he doesn't like the horns.
Yep.
Why? Don't know. I know it's geometry.
Yep.
But just like Teddy likes a round head like caddies. That's That's his preference. You've got the 98 to 02.
Hell, that's all I know. I mean, not really. I mean, that's the only thing I've ever built. So that's what I've really studied and learned, I guess, more than anything. Because I mean that wagon. I mean, it took 6 cars to build it to make it roll. So
Yeah.
I mean, but when I ran it, I mean, it took that many pieces of each car to make it go. So I mean, there wasn't much studying going on there. It was just get it back together.
Yeah.
But the 9802 thing, it was I sat back and took my time and I studied it, and I didn't want to cut no corners. I didn't want stupid shit to happen at the Derby, you know. So and that came from Gene and Denton, you know, the wiring, and I'm really OCD about that, like heat shrinking it and stuff like that, zip ties, and, you know, keeping everything together. And I mean, hell,
Well, you did get that on us because I've seen
I put
Denton's
wrap
car.
on all my wires because Denton and Gene, I mean, they told me.
They
you
build
know,
a wiring box.
Yeah, oh yeah, every time.
So
Nearly
everything
every
is
time.
self-contained,
Yep.
locked away, and you can lock it.
Yep.
It's not getting doused with.
Yep.
Fluid.
The wires yanked
Yep.
out by somebody, you know, you never know. And they told me that, and I mean, they really kind of, you know what, teachers, they beat things in your head.
Mhm.
I mean, I learned a lot from them, so that's, hell, I just wish Denton would keep running. So,
Well, he is kind of a fine example. We understand and we know as the sport has grown and evolved, there's not very many junkyard motors anymore.
no.
Especially in the street stocks and up. You know, you're talking 500, 600, 700 horse motors. A lot of the guys, I think, are having an issue because they can't run that 500, 600, 700 horse motor in a stock car.
Nope.
They can,
It
but
ain't
you're
gonna last
going
very long.
entirely too fucking fast.
I think that's one of my biggest worries is I done talked to a couple people about putting me another motor together just for a stock car, because I mean I know what's going to happen. I mean, I already know the result that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't need that crowd pleasing. I need the more reliable.
Crowd pleasing is pretty cool if there's 5 G's on the line for a Mad Dog. You know, if you
Yeah.
go out and get 4 full tracked snooted shots.
You talk about that shit though. You got Jerry Lyerly's motor that I seen in a stock car.
You gotta be conservative.
In a 2-man extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that shit was stock.
Yeah. Stock 5-speed and 10,000 RPMs.
Uh-huh.
So,
I still like my little motors though. Little motor and some gear. Take it all day.
how many times I told you my favorite motor is 358? A true 358. Not a 357, not a 361, not a 364, a 358. With some good gear.
He's just making up numbers now.
Horsepower builds heat, and it fucks up shit. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's what I learned last summer.
I wouldn't know.
It's very expensive.
Told you, $1,400 carburetor can solve all that.
Oh, I know. It wasn't a motor issue. It was everything behind it. But
But did you?
I did have.
You tried the good tranny too, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I had some.
Did you get a Jarrett tranny?
Yeah. That's I had some stuff going on with it, and torque. I had a brand new torque converter. The inner bearing, I guess it would be. It wasn't welded. I mean, it was spot welded like they usually are, but I took it to Jerk, and he cut it apart because, I mean, I just lost reverse. I lost everything, and he cut it apart and seen that. Yeah, that was the cause of all of it. But yeah, I had that flat, cam go flat, brand new comp cam go flat. That was the night before Salisbury, maybe. No, Slater.
Yes, because that's when I got a Snapchat the night before.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a fucking roller coaster last summer. I'll say that. But I mean, and it's hard to keep that confidence in your build whenever every time you turn around and you get ready to go to Derby, something
Yeah, but
else happens.
you can't be confident in a build until you have worked all the bugs out of it. You couldn't have expected to come out of the gate winning.
Yeah. I
Like,
was
there are some people that do that, but that's where the Rob Hewer saying comes in.
I was starting to wonder if I even knew how to put a fucking transmission on a motor. I mean, that's. I was having such bad luck with it. You know what? Hell, I was starting to second guess how I
Right.
learned to do it, or
But as you should. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, because you're questioning what am I doing wrong? It can't be a mechanical failure. It can't be a parts failure. I'm doing something wrong. So what the fuck
Well,
is
it can be, though. But you need to go into that shit with the mentality of how can I fix it?
Yep.
You know, did I do something wrong or not? Whatever. You can't grow in this sport. You can't be a good builder. You can't be any of that shit without questioning yourself. Because if you go into it with 100% confidence, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Because not every time that, you know, you put this plate here, you put this plate there, it's not going to be right.
No.
Especially if you don't, because not everybody's going to give you that this is exactly where you need to put that. You know, I'm going to draw you a picture here. This, you need to put it here.
Yeah.
You need to angle it. No. This is where I put my plates. You figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Figure out how it works for you.
I'm not going to throw them under the bus.
I was just saying, it's the confidence. It's like the knowing that my shit's gonna run tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's gonna hold together. Like
Right.
as in, it might not run off the track because it got junked in the heat, but by God, it'll start up and it'll move. You know
Correct.
What I mean? So.
You know, your brother-in-law
Mhm.
decided, hey, I want to try an 03. Find me a frame. Okay, I found him a frame. He says, man, will you help me on this thing? I can't drive. I'm not going to drive, an hour 3 times a week. So what he would do is he would take a Snapchat and send it to me. And I would circle where I know to put the plates.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said...
For the guy that you were helping
Correct. Yes. He was like, man, where can I put him? I said, this is the only place I know. I said, you try him here. He goes out Morton, and I told him, I said, these things, you can't take funky shots. You can't take 45s. I said, you got to load the rails evenly.
I
And
know exactly who hit him.
they threw the green flag, and he took a fucked up 45 shot, and it went...
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, that ain't worth fuck. I said, well, told you couldn't take no funky shots.
Yep.
I know
But-
exactly who hit him. They knew exactly what he was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew that he didn't know how to drive what he was driving. No offense to him as a driver or a builder. It was his first time out, and he was in the ring with a lot of seasoned drivers.
A lot. A lot, yeah.
Because there was 2 other 03s there that night.
Mm-hmm.
They did not come out of there looking like that.
A guy told me that he runs, 03s. I mean, he's got them figured out. We all know. I'm not going to say his name, but we all know who he is. If you ever pay attention to him and watch, he's always the first one on the track. That way he can see where everybody's at and see who's pointing at him. And I caught that from him one time talking to somebody, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because obviously you want to be the hammer, not the nail.
Mm-hmm.
So
How many times we said, like PJ, just he never wants to be on the receiving end of it.
No.
It's always him on the gas, and usually he has really good luck. Not so much the last time he ran, but one time out of 15 that we've watched, that's not very common for him. So.
the 03, I think the 03s, it's a lot more of a driving versus how the car's hard already, but it's to keep the wheels underneath. That's when the driving part comes in.
What I'm going to say about an 03, and this pertains from your first-time driver all the way to your seasoned vet, if you want to make sure that you can go have fun and make 2 or 3 just retardedly stupid hits, jump in an 03.
Yeah.
because they've got it in them.
Oh yeah.
Thing is, you can usually buy them cheaper. You can buy the
Yep.
Oh yeah.
other cars too.
Back
Yeah.
them shits straight up to the dirt, and whoever's on the other side of you, leave on 3, and you will at least get a rise out of the crowd for one shot.
Yep. And hopefully you don't knock your steering off after you clear his fucking bumper and pile up in his core support.
Who gives a fuck? Honestly, I'm telling you. Because
You said
you're
3 good hits, not just one.
Well, yeah, but you're going to back off that motherfucker, and the front end will still be straight as it can.
Tyler parked that 03 at Austin Friels' water pump over there at Huntsville last summer. Holy shit. I mean, the point it was touching the water pump. And I was like, God damn, he bored it in there. Went on deep
Trying to
in there.
make pups.
And you know, that's the best thing about Austin Friels, Jacob Green, all them guys. They get out smiling ear to ear. I mean, they love it. Them are guys that, I mean, truly love the sport because they don't give a shit if they go out and get their asses whooped. They're smiling, they're having fun.
Yep.
They love it.
But I'm telling you, I watched that 03 in Paris knock the cradle completely out of a Cadillac
They're
from
known.
a firewall shot.
They're known to do crazy shit, without a doubt. You know. So, well, boys, appreciate you coming over,
Not a problem.
cutting away from mama and baby and little shithead time
Yeah.
because he ain't a baby no more.
No, he's a wild man.
Well, you got some payback. I'm just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Mama Cheryl was
She's enlightened me on that.
pretty a lot sleepless nights, you know. So, man, appreciate you coming to catch up with us. Got any last words?
Nope.
Make jump, boys.